What's going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 171. And today we're going to break down our 2025 outfield rankings. We're not going left, center, and right like we do in the Bigs. We're going to leave that to you guys. But what we will do today is talk about 18 of the top outfielders, and then we'll talk about 18 more next week as I had the guys send me 50 outfielders. Still going to be more than that rostered in the bigs, but it's going to be a wild, wild pair of shows. Let's kick this thing off first with Frank Bucco. Frank, how you doing this evening, my friend?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. Just happy to be talking about outfielders, just talking baseball with you guys. I just enjoy this all the time. So I'm ready to go.
It's going to be a great show here. Jason Ashby from Denver, Colorado. The Super Bowl was a bust, but we are talking outfield because it is baseball season officially. How you doing this evening, my friend?
I'm fantastic. Super Bowl was a bust, and it can kiss my ass, and baseball is back, and that's all that matters. And I want to throw out a special happy birthday to both you gentlemen. Both of you are birthdays over this past weekend, and Joe tomorrow. So, yeah, wanted to throw that out to you guys.
Thank you very much. Happy
Thank you,
birthday to
sir.
Frank. And myself, I'm turning 41 tomorrow. I'm super excited,
Yeah.
let me tell
All
you.
right.
Let's dive into this thing, gentlemen. We're going to talk about the top 18 because, like I said, you guys sent me 50. Mike Haber also sent me 50. So we've got all four of our rankings here. We agreed on 36 of them. So the first 18 will be done this evening, the next 18 on the next show. The number one outfielder is not a surprise this week, although I'm interested to see why we've got a hair split here. Jason, it's going to be Aaron Judge. You and I both have him at 1. Frank has him at 2, and Mike also has him at 2. Where did you split the hair with Aaron Judge, Jason?
The position eligibility. Yeah, I like being able to rotate him through 3 outfield positions as opposed to, I assume the next guy is Shohei. He has 1 utility spot, which, if you're gonna plug your utility spot, he's the guy to do it with. But Judge does get the hair from me because of the ability to move him around the lineup.
He had an absolutely monster season last year, 58 homers, 144 RBIs, and 133 walks. He was the AL MVP. Frank, you've got him at 2 because we are including all of the DHs in this as well, because the vast majority of them, if they're going to play a position, will get outfield eligibility. Ohtani won't, but I'm assuming it's the stolen bases for you, Frank, that split the hair between Ohtani and Judge here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the stolen bases. It's the all around, it's the all around component, the 5 tool aspect. And, plugging him in at DH, I had that last year and or utility, sorry. It was a blessing and a curse because I couldn't move him anywhere, but I got him at number 9 in the draft. And if that guy's there at number 9, you're not going to not draft him. Right. It's just, having to negotiate with yourself, trying to figure out where, you're not going to sit him. And, but there's a guy who's, could be used there, so on and so forth. It's just, it's a lot.
It's a difficult build. It's a difficult
Mhm.
build having Ohtani as your utility to start off the draft.
Yeah.
And I'm just, if it's me, I'm splitting the hair with Aaron Judge. He is my number 1 overall. I'll draft him number 1 if I have the pick there. Number 2, obviously, we are talking about Shohei Ohtani, who had a monster 50-50 season, never before seen, 54 homers, 59 stolen bases, 130 RBIs. You're certainly not going to go wrong drafting this guy at 2, right, Jason?
No. I mean, he is the unicorn, and if he's not the best player on the planet, he's the second best player on the planet. But it's a different kind of strategy in fantasy owning this guy, in a league where you only have 1 utility spot. So, you have to kind of, and I've never done it. I've never owned him, in the bigs, but I imagine that, you have to build the rest of your roster with such a flexibility that you don't need a utility spot because you don't have one. because you're not taking him out of your lineup.
Right. Like I said, it's a difficult build, but he is certainly one of a kind and will carry your team very far, I would assume. Our number 3 outfielder is the consensus number 3. Everybody had him there. It is Juan Soto. I'm rocking his jersey here this evening, and he is going to be playing in Queens for the next 5 years at least, but probably more like 15. Jason, I'll give you the opportunity here to talk about Juan Soto on our Mets.
Dude, when the news broke that he was signing with the Mets for 15 years, 700 and cajillion dollars, it was I was out for dinner and I literally dropped the fork and was just dancing at the table. It was an incredible feeling. This guy is, is he Aaron Judge? Is he Shohei? No, but I don't think there's anybody else quite like him, and I am excited to see what the next at least 5 years brings to Queens. It's going to be incredible.
Frankie hit 41 homers and 109 RBIs with 129 walks. I think the walks are still going to be there, but are you concerned that there might be a little bit of a dip in the power numbers because of he's no longer playing in Yankee Stadium?
But I mean, I still think he's one of the best players, period. And yeah, I do think there's going to be a dip in the power numbers. Especially Jason, where do they have him hitting in that lineup? I haven't looked it up.
Number 2.
2, yeah. He's going to be more of a place setter. I mean, he's still going to do Juan Soto things, but he's going to be more of a place setter for people like Alonso, and Lindor, and and Vientos and those guys. So, yeah, I just think I still think it's warranted where he's at.
Yeah, without the short porch in right field, I could see a
Right.
little bit of a dip of the home run in the home runs, but probably a tick up in the doubles. He had 31 doubles last year, 41 home runs. You could see 35 and 35 and not blink an eye at it.
Yeah, I mean he hit 35 the year before, and that was in San Diego. So, I would expect, somewhere in between that is a reasonable expectation.
Yeah, absolutely. The batting average, the on-base percentage, they're always going to be there. I don't see that changing very much at all. But one thing Soto doesn't give you, especially at the top of this draft, is stolen bases. He only had 7 last year. I don't foresee him getting much more than that this year. So if you're looking for speed in the early part of the draft, this isn't the way to go. But if you're building your team around Soto, it's an absolute wonderful experience. I had him a couple of years ago. Ben Nisman had him last year and the year before. I'm sure that Ben is hoping to get him back again this year. I would certainly love to have him as well.
Mm-hmm.
Our number 4 outfielder is the consensus number 4. We've talked about him many, many times. It's Mookie Betts. He's the leadoff hitter of the Dodgers. Second base show, shortstop show. Go back and listen to that because we gushed over Mookie Betts then, and we will move on to number 5. Number 5, I have at 5. Jason at 6. Frank at 8. And Mike Haber has him at 5 as well. It's Kyle Tucker. Frank, he moved to the south side of Chicago, the south side of Chicago this year, and he's going to be playing in Wrigleyville. What kind of expectation do you have for him this year, given that he had an injury plagued last year?
Again, it's a wait and see approach with him. I mean, is he going to be the same player? He was hitting in a lineup, either in front or behind Alvarez, with Altuve in front of him, and I believe Bregman in front of him at the time too. And now it's like Nico Horner, maybe, and Ian Happ, maybe, and Dansby Swanson's behind it. I don't like the lineup he's in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
And the ballpark is certainly a downgrade from what used to be Minute Maid Field. Jason, where do they have Kyle Tucker hitting in this lineup?
Roster Resource shows him hitting second behind Ian Happ, which is actually not terrible because Ian Happ is a good on base guy. He draws his walk, he'll get on base. So there's RBI opportunities right there. Behind him, Yeah, it's a little bit of a question mark. Seiya Suzuki's right behind him, then Michael Bush, and then Dansby. Um, not what he had in Houston for sure. Um, so that's why I have him a little bit lower. I have him at number 6 than the number 5.
Okay. I mean, he's on a walk year, so this is certainly a situation where you want to see him ball out and get the big numbers for a big payday next year. I don't know that this is the situation that he would have signed up for if he were picking his own landing spot. I think he would have liked to stay in Houston, but Houston certainly got a massive haul from Chicago in order to land him. It'll be interesting to see what he does in Chicago. I'm apprehensive, but if I'm drafting at the back end of the first round, I feel like this is a decent dude who can carry a team.
And I will say, like, yeah, he was injured, a lot last year, and I remember thinking, like, and I think was it Bobby that owned him last
Mhm.
year. I remember talking to him, like, this guy had, it was a shin contusion, and the guy missed like 3.5 months with a shin contusion that turned out to be a broken shin or something like that.
Yep.
But he came back at the end of the season and balled out. So like
Yeah.
I don't think the injury is a concern going forward. So I'm not worried about that. That's why I do have him, in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, I've got him at 5, and he played half a season essentially, 23 homers, 11 steals. You extrapolate that out, that's 40 and 20. That's a hell of a season out of this guy. I don't know that we're going to see that in Chicago. I probably would more likely see 30 to 35 with 20 steals. That would be really nice to see. Um, Playing good defense, playing in a lineup that's going to compete. I don't think the Chicago Cubs are going to be bad this year. I think they're actually going for it in the NL Central. So we'll see what he's capable of in his new environment. His old teammate follows him up here at number 6. I've got him at 6, Jason at 5. Frank, you've got him down at 11, and Mike has him at 6 as well. It's Yordan Alvarez. What's the story here, Frank? You don't like Yordan Alvarez?
I mean, I don't know. Eh, it's just, I mean, he's not playing the outfield, and
Mhm.
I mean, which allows him to focus on hitting. Like, I mean, I don't know. I like guys who are, playing the position. Like,
Mhm.
you're gonna go out and play every day. Like, you're gonna hit every day, but you know, um, yeah, just I like guys well before him.
Cheaper Otani is what I'm gathering here, but without the stolen bases, he only had 6 this past season.
Hmm.
I don't foresee that changing because he don't run. That guy's knees are shot at this point, but he still is hitting over 300 with a 959 OPS last year. Walk to strikeout ratio is fantastic. 35 homers, 34 doubles. Jason, how are you feeling about this guy in the middle of the Houston lineup?
Yeah, he's still just an absolute dynamic force. By the way, the 6 steals are a career high for a single season. So yeah, you're probably not gonna see much more than that. But I mean, the rest of the numbers are just ridiculous, and he finally had a nice full season last year, 147 games. And yeah, there's really not a whole lot not to like about this guy. As long as he's healthy, and he's playing every day. Look, if he's DHing, that's probably even better. You could see 155, 160 games out of this guy because
Mhm.
he's not going to be fielding. So this is probably the last year we're going to see him have left field eligibility. So next year, could be an interesting draft, configuration between him and Shohei. But this year, yeah, I'm all in on him.
Yeah, and he's not the only guy that we're going to talk about tonight that has DH or util only eligibility at some point. Like this is going to start becoming the norm among players in the bigs where they're only going to have utility eligibility, and there's going to be a handful of teams that are going to have to navigate this, whereas in years past it's basically been the Shohei owner who's been stuck with this situation. So next year we'll be interested to see if Jordan Alvarez has any eligibility or if he's just utility only. There's more of those guys to come. Our number 7 outfielder is my number 7. Jason, you've got him down at 12. Frank also has him at 7, and Mike Haber at 8. It's Corbin Carroll of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Jason, you've got him a little bit lower. Is the shoulder injury reoccurring, or?
Yeah, the shoulder injury last year was not a great year. I know he had kind of a tale of two seasons last year. And I know he was a lot better in the second half. Um, I'm just I'm not out on him by any means. He's only 24. I couldn't really get him above these guys that I have above him. So like I'm not out on him. I would be happy to draft him in the second round. But I think there's some other guys here that have more merit.
22 homers, 35 stolen bases, but a 231 batting average last year with a 256 batting average on balls in play. So I would imagine that's going to come up in the years to come. I could see him hitting somewhere more like 250, 260. And then if those numbers come, well, then you have to count for all the runs you're going to be scoring, all the doubles and triples you're going to be getting. Frank, you seem to like Corbin Carroll, but I know you've been out on the Diamondbacks lineup. So how do you weigh that? If you're drafting at the back end of the first or early part of the second, and Corbin Carroll's on the board, do you like him to anchor a team but not like the lineup, or where are we at with Corbin Carroll?
I like him to anchor a team. They, I mean, I believe he has all three outfield eligibility spots.
Mm-hmm.
Just center and right.
Okay.
Just center and right. Okay. Maybe last year he had all three. I'm
Last year
not
he
sure.
did.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, center and right field, that's usually always a problem for me because I always stack up on center fielders, but I can see him leading a team. I still hate that Diamondbacks lineup, regardless of what I still hate it. But you know, they're predicting him at a 260 batting average, a 342 on base. If he could do that with 21 homers, 70 RBIs, and 36 steals, yeah, I'll take that in the back end of the first round. Like, I like him. I just, again, like you said, Joe, I don't like the lineup.
It's an interesting build with him as well, because if you take him early, you're going to need to stock up on homers and RBIs in order to catch back up. You're going to have a ton of runs scored. That's absolutely true. He's going to be on base all the time, scoring runs for this Diamondbacks lineup. But I don't know that you're going to get the homer and RBI totals that you will from other guys around this same area. Our next outfielder is our number 8 this year. I have him at 8. Jason, you have him at 7. Mike Haber also has him at 7. Frank, you're the low man on Fernando Tatis at 17. You really don't like Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yeah, I just, when you, I lose all respect for you when you cheat.
Okay.
You know, that lineup in San Diego is okay. I personally think you should go back to playing shortstop, but they signed Xander Bogaerts for that, and I just don't. I don't buy it. I just 2020 last year, 276, a 340 on base. 11 steals is down from his almost 30 in the previous season. Um, 21 homers when he's hitting 42. Well, then again, he was on PDs, but 25 the year before that. The numbers are down. I don't know how hurt he was last year, but I don't like him.
He's out on Tatis, 102 games last year. You heard the stat line from Frank. Jason, I assume they have him hitting second in this lineup?
They do, right in between Luis Ariz and Jackson Merrill. Which is not a terrible place to be, if we're being honest. And look, yes, I understand he cheated. I don't condone it. But he's a 26-year-old talent who, is still one of the best in the game. Yes, they moved him out of shortstop because of his shoulder. So, he's still a good quality outfielder. He runs decent, 11 stolen bases last year. Not great, but I think in a full healthy year, you could see him push 20. Um, he, maybe I have him a little high at 7, um, but I don't hate it here.
I don't think you have him too high. I think I've got him at 8, and Mike has him at 7 as well. I think there's just an apprehension with the injury history and the fact that we don't know what we're going to get out of this guy from year to year. I think if he's healthy, I think 30 homers is a safe bet. I think 20 steals is a safe bet. But again, we have to get health out of this guy, and that's one thing that he has not been able to give us year in and year out. He is only 26. He's locked up to an enormous contract, so he's not going anywhere. That lineup, I don't know if it's going to get better between now and opening day, but I could see a way it gets worse, especially if they move off of Luis Ariz and trade him away, or if they suffer another injury in the lineup, or they just don't sign anybody to play left field other than Jason Hayward and Connor Joe. Yeah, those are
Those
the new
are
left
two
fielders.
not good options.
Not great.
That's what they got.
Yep. All right, this next player is wide open. We've got a huge range of numbers here. Frank has him at 5. I've got him at 19. Jason's got him at 10, and Mike has him at 12. It's Ronald Acuna Jr. I have him at 19 because I'm afraid he's going to miss time, and I think it's a foregone conclusion he's going to miss at least a month. Frank, you're the Braves fan here. What are you hearing about Acuna?
I know he'll be back probably May 3rd.
Okay.
May 3rd it's a big series. It's a Dodger series at home.
Mm-hmm.
And he's expressed that he absolutely wants to be in the lineup for those 3 games. And I, partial homer, I'm not going to lie, that I have him at 5. But this guy's coming off an MVP season in 23.
Mm-hmm.
And 74 steals. Don't quote me on that. I think it was that. He's not going to run as much. He's going to DH a little bit here and there, so he doesn't hurt himself again. So, I mean, if he's going to miss time, listen, at number 5, if I have the 5th pick, I'm taking that guy, and I'll wait on him.
All right.
I mean, I totally would.
He's going to wait a month for Ronald Acuna, his first rounder. I think that's very, very interesting. Jason, I'm afraid that we're going to see a dip in stolen bases because of the knee injury. I'm afraid that we're going to wait quite a while. But if it's only 2 weeks, let's say it's only 2 weeks that you have to wait on Ronald Acuna, I could see him moving up in my rankings because this guy could be good for another 30 and 20 season, conservatively.
Yeah. I mean, I'm reading also that the first month or so is what they're saying right now is what he'll miss. If it's the first month, I'm okay with that. I think there is enough depth in the outfield that you can put somebody in that spot until he gets back, and the Braves aren't I don't think would rush him back. Like they're gonna make sure that he's good and ready.
Mm-hmm.
And look, he came back from the first ACL injury, and he ran. Will he run as much? Will he run probably not as much. But I don't think we're gonna see a complete fall off from him. So I still have him ranked number 10. He is still just 27. Yes, the 2 ACL injuries is alarming, but I feel like he's as safe as anybody to rebound back to somewhere close to where he was.
I could see him, like I said, I could see him moving up if he plays in spring, or if we see him, rehabbing this injury, and it seems like he's going to be closer to opening day than he is, say, May 3rd, like Frank is talking about here. I don't know. I'm afraid of the double injury. I'm afraid of the lack of steals. I'm out, but I could I could be dead wrong, and this guy could put up another 40-40 season and shove it down my throat. I could be completely wrong.
Yeah, I feel like if anybody's gonna do that, it's gonna be him.
Oh yeah. Our number 10 outfielder, I have at 10, Jason at 13, Frank at 15, and Mike at 9. They're all right around this spot. It's Jarren Duran. Jarren Duran had a breakout season last year, 48 doubles, 21 homers, 34 stolen bases, and double digit on the triples. So he's definitely a guy that will fill up the stat sheet for you with a 285 average. My fear is that maybe this was a breakout and this might be the ceiling, and that you're going to give up a second or third round draft pick for Jarren Duran, and he's not going to return the same kind of production you saw last year. Frank, you've been very critical of the Boston lineup as well this year. We talked about it with Rafi Devers. Here we are again talking about it with Duran. How are you feeling about Duran in this lineup?
I don't mind him. You know, everything, I mean, in terms of batting average, on base percentage, 23 and last year, very similar. You know, the steals went up and the strikeouts went up. He also played only 102 games then. I like it. I mean, somebody's got to do something there.
Mm-hmm.
Besides Rafi Devers, somebody has to do something. You can't rely on Trevor Story and his injury plagued. He's injury plagued. You know, anybody else, like, you know, all they went after was really pitching this year.
Mm-hmm. So,
I mean, somebody's got to come through in that lineup. Somebody has to. I mean, Rafael is good, but, you know, Will you Abreu, you don't know what you're going to see out of that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Tristan Casas, if he plays there this year, it's just not. There's not a lot. There's not a lot there, and you know, the 21 homers, 75 RBIs. Do I see that happening again? Not really.
Okay.
I would probably be more in the ballpark of like 15 and 65, maybe 15 and 60. But you know, I like the guy. I mean, again, somebody's got to do something there.
Yeah, 15 and 60 kind of scares me if I'm drafting him in the top 3 rounds. The one thing you're going to get out of this guy is runs scored, though. 111 last year. I'm pretty sure he's going to score about 100 runs this year. Jason, how you feeling about Jarren Duran?
Yeah, so I have him and Corbin Carroll back to back. I have him right below Corbin Carroll because I feel like they are, and I think we've made this comp before, but I love it. I think they are very similar in their makeup. Corbin Carroll is a few years younger and he had fewer strikeouts, so that's why I gave him the edge over Jarren Duran. But I think they're pretty much the same guy. Look, they both have 14 triples last year. You know, 74 RBIs, 75 RBIs, 22 home runs, 21 home runs. Like they're very similar in their makeup. 35 steals, 34 steals. Like it's remarkable actually how similar their stats are. So I had them both back to each other. I would be fine with either one of them. Jarren Duran has left field and center field eligibility, so you have multiple outfield spots to put him in. Like you said, he's going to score 100 plus runs. He's good for at least 10 triples. You know, it's hard to find guys who you know are going to get double digits in triples. He is a safe bet for that.
No doubt. And that, especially with that ballpark, if he hits it into the triangle, he's going to run forever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a very safe option for that, and I think that's what carries a lot of the weight here is that he was able to be an extra base hit machine this past year. I just worry that he's able to repeat it. I just don't know whether or not he's going to be able to do that.
Sure. That's the thing with Carroll too. I mean, he hit 14 triples last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's an extra base machine too.
Yeah. That's why, you know, we say building a team on these guys, you know, that is a category that we play for.
Yeah.
So
our number 11 outfielder, another one that is all over the map. I've got him at 9, Jason at 8, Mike at 11. Frank, you are way out on Julio Rodriguez. You've got him at 21. What do you see in Julio? Are you not a fan of the Mariners? Is that what I'm...
Nothing. I see nothing in that guy. But it's not him. That's for sure. It's my favorite outfielder of all time, and Griffey. Yeah, yeah. I don't like the Mariners. Period. Period. I don't like it. The strikeout totals like super high. He doesn't walk a lot. Uh, you're getting stolen bases. Okay, a 273 batting average. Yeah, well, all right. Extra base hits was down last year. Only 17 doubles. 155 hits. He's not scoring a lot of runs. It's 76 as opposed to 102 the year before.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it wasn't maybe 100 less at bats.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I don't. I said I don't like it. I don't like him there. I don't like the team. I think they're not going to compete, and I think his production is going to be dependent on that. And he's not a he's young. He's 24. You can't expect this guy to carry a team at 24 when you should go at least get him somebody. I mean, Randy's not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's why I'm just out on him. I don't like the situation.
The Mariners have done absolutely nothing to ensure this lineup is going to be any better than they did last year. Jason, we like Julio, but I'm not sure that I'm jumping on this train either because I don't like this lineup. I'm afraid of another season of regression. He played 143 games last year, and he was off to a dreadful start in the first half. What are you thinking with Julio?
Yeah, I'm probably in the same camp. Like he's somebody who is probably almost lineup proof. Like he's only 24 years old, so like the talent is still there. He's going to be in this league for a long time to come. I think we will see some better numbers from him. The runs scored, look, in 2023 he played in 45, he had 45 games as a leadoff batter, whereas in 2024 he had 10. So I think that might explain some of the drop off in the runs scored category. But in general, yes, he had a down year. The Mariners had a down year. And you're right, they haven't done anything to really improve themselves. But I think Julio himself can see an improvement. So I'm not out on him. I've owned him before. I had him, and I was worried. I went through an injury play season from him, and it was really tough.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he has the ability to be fine in this horrible lineup.
The question is, where are you going to have to pay in order to get him on your roster? And if he's a first or second round talent, I
No.
think I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah. If he's around, in the back half of the second, or in the third, I could consider it, but certainly not first round. No.
Okay. Our number 12 outfielder is actually DH only eligible. So we go back to the conversation we had with Alvarez and the conversation we had with Otani. I've got him at 11. Jason, you've got him all the way down at 18. I'm interested to see what's up there. Mike has him at 15. Frank, you've got him at number 6. It's your guy. It's Marcell Ozuna. How you feel?
Yay.
How you feeling about Ozuna this year?
Well, I mean, he found his calling. Just sit there and hit the ball. Like you're not going to play the outfield. You're not going to do any of those things. So, you know, 302, 39, and 104 in the middle of that lineup. Yes, please. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All day. Um, and he's that guy. I mean, 74 walks to 170 strikeouts. The strikeout numbers are not great. But, you know, he put up 40 and 100 the year before, 39 and 104 last year, 302, 378. He gets on base. He
Mm-hmm.
gets on base. Yeah, the strikeout numbers are high, but I mean, he's hitting 31 doubles, 96 runs scored last year. I mean, from a guy who's hitting fifth in that lineup, I think. I'm not sure. I'm going to look it up. But
right now, Roster Resource has him 5th. Yeah.
Has him 5th, right? Yeah. I mean, and you're scoring that many runs as hitting 5th.
Mhm.
Like, that's wonderful. Like, and now he's got a little more in front of him. Some more RBIs possibly. More run scoring opportunities with Albies hitting behind him and Profar and Harris behind him. However they decide to do it. But yeah, I'm all in on this guy. If I can build around him, end of the first round, beginning of the second round, I'm all for it.
Rich blood there for Marcell Ozuna from Frank. Back into the first, early second. I don't think I'm going to pay that, but I think a 3rd or 4th rounder would be pretty solid for me. I mean, I'll be honest. I like the production he's put up the last couple of years. Jason, you appear to be out on Marcell Ozuna. Is it because of the utility only that we're going to run into?
Yeah, that's part of it. That's a good part of it. Having Shohei locked into utility spot is a big difference to me than having Marcell Ozuna locked into that utility spot, and not being able to move him. He's 34 years old now. I'm afraid of a decline starting. Um, you know, and to Frank's point, if the Braves decide not to have Acuna, play in the outfield all the time while he's recovering, coming back from this ACL, they're going to DH Acuna. So what does that mean for Ozuna? So I'm just a little unsure about that situation. If I'm looking ahead, he put up great numbers last year and the year before, but if I'm looking ahead, the guys I have above him, I just, I like what I see for 2025 better.
The one thing you're not going to get out of Marcell Ozuna is stolen bases. He had 1 last year. He's not going to steal bases. He's just not going to be a contributor in that category. So that does knock him down just a little bit for me.
He is in a walk year, though.
That was literally the next thing I was going to say, was that this is a walk year for him. So he's looking to get the final contract of his career and finish out his career somewhere, maybe with the Braves, maybe elsewhere. But he's gonna try to put up a monster season to get as much money as he can. Our number 13 outfielder this year is Mike's number 17. He appears to be out. My number 15, I'm not quite as out. Jason, you've got him at 11 and Frank at 9. It's Anthony Santander off of a career year, 44 homers, 102 RBIs, but only a 235 batting average with a 308 on base. Frank, he moved to Toronto. He's going to be hitting right around Vlad Guerrero and Bo Bichette. You like him this year?
I do. I do. I mean, he's an extra base hit machine. Consistently. He scores a good amount of runs. I mean, 41 doubles in 23, down to 25 last year, but 44 and 102. Walk to strikeout ratio is not bad. Pretty consistent. The 308 on base last year kind of scares me. And I'll be honest, if after this year, if Vlad goes and they trade Bichette in like mid-season, he's going to have to do something because they paid him a good amount of money and he's going to have to produce some way because, you can't rely on people like Ernie Clement and whoever else is in that lineup. So yeah, I mean, I like it. First year with a new team. I think he's going to ball out.
Going to ball out in Toronto and help them hopefully try to make the playoffs in Vlad's possibly last season in Toronto. Jason, how you feeling about Santander? Because I have him here in this group of dudes that are either like one position or util only eligible or will be. Like it's a group of 5. And he's on the bottom for me because his batting average isn't as good. His on-base percentage isn't as good. He doesn't walk as much. He doesn't run. So if you're not getting 40 homers and 100 RBIs, this might be a guy that I'm taking a step out on, and I had him last year. How are you feeling
Yeah.
about Santander?
Yeah, I probably could knock him down a few, maybe be behind Carroll and Duran. But I'm not out on him. I haven't seen anything that suggests that like he's on a decline. He's only 30 years old right now. I know the Blue Jays aren't the best lineup, but he's gonna be playing some games against the Rays, so he's going to see some time in that small ballpark.
Mhm.
Um, for what that's worth. Um, yeah, like he doesn't kill you in strikeouts. He only, other under 20% strikeout rate last year, so it doesn't kill you in that. Um, that's probably better. I probably could knock him down a little bit, but I'm not dead on him.
Yeah, I'm not dead on him either. Probably a fourth or fifth rounder would be a fair enough
Oh
spot
yeah,
for him.
yeah,
Um, but again, it's a new team, it's a new environment. We'll have to see if he's able to acclimate himself to Toronto. Our number 14 outfielder is also utility only eligible, but should gain outfield eligibility within the first couple of weeks. He's my number 13. Jason, you've got him at 17. Frank's at 10, and Mike is at 13. It's Brent Rooker off of a career year. Brent Rooker is now going to be playing his games in a minor league ballpark. I have him above Santander. I've got him below Ozuna. So the 39 and 112, I honestly don't know what to expect out of this guy. Jason, what are you expecting out of Brent Rooker this year at a minor league park?
yeah. I have no idea because I never saw a 39 and 112 coming out of a guy who was playing, in a shitty Oakland lineup. He does have left field eligibility, so he will have
Okay.
that. Um, I don't know. I don't know. And that's kind of why I have him down here with Ozuna, because I feel just a little bit better about these guys ahead of him, who I'm kind of surprised we haven't talked about some of them, honestly.
Mhm.
But at 30 years old, yeah, he could repeat this year, especially playing in a minor league ballpark. Um, or he could absolutely tank and get 20 and 75, and you paid a premium for that. So um I like, yeah, if he's there in the fifth round, fifth, sixth round, depending on what my lineup looks like so far, I might take a flyer, but he's not something I'm going to overpay for.
Yeah, I'm not targeting him either. I don't think, but again, he is in this stack of util only or one position eligible type guys that are power only. He did have 11 stolen bases last year, did have the second best batting average of this group with a 293 batting average. He was absolutely murdering the ball, but Frank, this is a bad team. And I'm interested to see what you have to say on this lineup because there's not a whole lot to be excited about. But you've got him at 10. You like Brent Rooker.
I like Brent Rooker. I mean, if he stays where he's at, if he gets traded again, this is another situation where someone's got to do something in this lineup. They have
Mhm.
him hitting second in front
Okay.
of
Yeah.
JJ Bleday and Shea Langoliers. And then it gets really ugly all the way down.
Oh, yeah.
And Lawrence Butler in front of him, um, in front of Rooker. So, I mean, do I see the same numbers from last year? Probably not. Um, even with the minor league ballpark, but I still could see, the 30 and 85
Okay.
with 8 to 10 steals, um, you know, the batting average I think goes down, maybe 270s.
Okay.
But it's again, somebody's got to do something. That lineup's not good after number 4.
Yeah, somebody's
Yeah.
going to drive in the runs here. Someone's going to score some runs here. Someone's going to hit home runs. It's not going to be a complete shutout every single day for the
Yeah.
Sacramento A's. So we shall see what Brent Rooker is capable of
United
this year.
States.
That's right. Our number 15 outfielder this year, Jason, I'm sure this is one of the guys that you were most interested in because you've got him at 9. I've got him at 16, Frank at 18, and Mike at 14. So we've got him in the mid-teens, but you've got him in the top 10, Jason. It's Jackson Merrill. What's up with Jackson Merrill?
I don't know. What's up with Jackson Merrill? I mean, this guy was, could have been, should have been, I don't know, the rookie of the year. Uh, I don't know. What am I missing? I mean, for a rookie, he had an outstanding year, and I mean, yes, there's the potential for a sophomore slump, but there's also the potential that he takes a step forward, and he's hitting right in the middle of the top half of a good lineup. Like, yes, I get the bottom half of the lineup is not great, but he's hitting around Luis Arias and Fernando Tatis, and Manny Machado. I think 16 steals last year. So give me 20, 24 home runs, give me 30. So if he's a 30-20 guy, he hit 292, which is fantastic. Doesn't kill you in strikeouts. Walks around great, but I don't know. I think this kid is something real. I don't know what I'm overselling him on.
I think there's a case to be made that, yeah, he could be a 30-20 guy with a 280 batting average and a decent on base percentage. The plate discipline isn't there. He only had 29 walks in 156 games last year. So that's a certain red flag for me. Doesn't hit the ball incredibly hard, but again, he is rather young. I think he was only 21 or 22 this past year. So he has time to grow into his body. Frank, you had him last year. You drafted him really late, 14th or 15th round, if I remember
17th
correctly.
round.
17th round, even better. So you're not going to be getting him in the 17th this year.
No, not
and
at
you
all.
appear to be a bit out on him as you've got him at 18. I've got him at 16 for the plate discipline questions and the sophomore slump. What are you thinking for him here?
I agree. I agree on that. I think there might be a sophomore slump. I still see him hitting, you know, the batting average still staying right around where it was. He doesn't strike out a lot. But again, to your point, Joe, he doesn't walk a lot either. So the plate discipline's there, but it's not. And I mean, yeah, I see 20 steals out of him. I see a 2020 season out of out of him.
Okay.
And uh, you know, 25 doubles. I mean, he had 31 last year. Um, and 6 triples. Again, with a guy like this, you're playing for the category, or you're playing for the categories, I should say. And where it's kind of like, why do we draft Kyle Schwarber? I mean, in that same respect, he's gonna get a lot of walks, he's gonna hit a lot of homers. We're playing for the categories, so this is the type of guy you're gonna draft for the categories. You're not gonna draft him because he's your favorite player.
Right. It's interesting you bring up Kyle Schwarber because he is our next guy here at number 16. I have him at 12. Jason, you've got him at 21. Mike has him at 20, and Frank has him at 12. I drafted this guy last year, 110 runs scored, 104 RBIs, 106 walks, and 38 home runs with a 248 batting average. I got good Kyle Schwarber last year. All right. Yeah. Do we think it's going to repeat, Jason?
I mean, it could, because this is who he is, but could we start seeing it become more like Joey Gallo, in the next couple of years, where it's walk, strikeouts, home runs, and that's it? I mean, the average is obviously he was better last year than he was the year before in the batting average category. I don't know. This is another guy who he will have left field eligibility this year, but I don't think we'll see that again. So this will be another guy to fill in that utility only spot. I'm not, maybe 21's low on him. I don't know. By the way, I feel like outfield is super deep, just in general. So having him at 21, I feel like I'm shortchanging him, but I just can't justify moving him above these other guys that I have ahead of him. So I'm not dead on him, but I don't know if I could pay a 4th or 5th round pick for him.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to be drafting him either this year. I think the Phillies are going to be a good team. I think they're going to compete. I just don't know if another 100 season is capable here. I've seen I got what I anticipated to get out of him last year. I just don't know that he can do it again. Frank, are you feeling like he's going to be able to repeat 100?
No, no. I think the on base percentage is always going to be there.
Hmm.
He's going to walk a ton. You're still going to get the homers out of him, but I really do believe he's going to take a step back um, in a lot of other things. I don't see him hitting 248
Hmm.
this year. I think it's more going to be closer to like the 220s.
Hmm.
And the strikeout numbers are always going to be high. And again, this is a guy, like I just said, you're drafting for the categories. You're not drafting for, oh, Kyle Schwarber is amazing and I love him. No, no, because nobody does. But that's what you're getting. You're getting a lot of home runs. You're getting the walks. You're getting the high strikeouts. You're not getting the batting average, but you're getting the on base percentage.
Hmm.
So it's a 50-50 with him.
The only thing I think will take a step back here is the RBI total. I don't think he'll get to 100 RBIs this year, batting leadoff for the Phillies. Listen, if he drives himself in 40 times again this year, I might be way off, but the bottom of that Phillies lineup is a little bit suspect. I'm not in on him getting 100 RBIs this year. I think I'm out on this player. That being said, I've got him fairly high here at 12, but I don't think he's going to be a part of my build this year. Our number 17 outfielder is my number 14, Jason's number 16, Mike's number 16. Frank, you are out on Teoscar Hernandez at 25. What's up with Teoscar Hernandez?
It's Teoscar Hernandez. It's every other he's an every other season type of guy to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just uh, again, I mean, you hit 272 last year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. When you 258 the year before, you struck out 211 times. The strikeouts are scare the hell out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Eh, 188 the year before or last year,
Mm-hmm.
211 the year before that. The strikeout numbers are always high. He doesn't walk. Um, you know, 12 steals last year was nice, 33 and 99, but and the doubles total is always good.
Mm-hmm.
But like I say, he's the type of guy that just he's hit or miss. You don't know whether he's going to be really good, or you don't know if you're going to get, you know, a 258 season with a 305 on base. You don't know what you're going to get out of him, and that's why I'm just even though the lineup is good, and I think he gets overshadowed by the Otanis and Freemans and Betts and Will Smiths and whoever else they decide that they want to sign.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, I think it's just, I don't know. Again, it's a 50-50. It's like Schwarber.
Coin toss of a season for Frank. Jason, he re-signed in LA to play for the Dodgers again. He's going to be in the middle of that lineup. You seem to like him. What are we thinking about Teoscar Hernandez?
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to expect him to have a line anything, you know. I think he'll put up some of the lines he put in last year. Same team, same roster, same spot in the lineup. So yes, the strikeouts are a lot. So I have him down at 16. Like I'm not out on him, but I know that if I'm gonna draft him, I gotta make sure that, I have a Luis Arias type guy who is going to help, kind of supplant that. But aside from that, there's really nothing not to like about him hitting cleanup in the Dodgers lineup. Uh we talk about, guys who are playing in bad lineups and how we kind of avoid him. Well, this is the complete opposite. Like anybody if you're batting cleanup in the Dodgers lineup, you need to be drafted. You need to be owned, and he's gonna be right in the middle of all that. Yeah, craziness in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I've got him here in that same stack with Ozuna and Schwarber and Rooker and Santander. So he sits right in that little cluster there. I'll probably own one of those 5 guys if they fall to me in the draft, but and he would probably be the one I would target because of the lineup and because of the opportunity he's going to have. But yes, that strikeout rate is scary. It is worse than Kyle Schwarber. It is arguably the worst at the position, and that is saying something considering how many guys we've got here.
Yeah, it's the same as Brent Rooker's.
Yeah, exactly the same as Brent Rooker's. The final outfielder we're going to talk about this evening is number 18 at the position. I've got him at 18. Frank has him at 14. Mike has him at 10. Jason, what's wrong with Jackson Chourio at 34?
I have him clustered with a bunch of rookies that I don't know. I'm gonna need to see it again. We both owned and dropped Chourio last year.
I drafted
whether that
him.
was a mistake or not, yeah, I get, but I don't know. I his numbers didn't pop off the page to me. So I just want to see it again. You know, as look, I know I have Jackson Merrill way up as a sophomore, but I liked his numbers better than Chourio's. I also like the lineup better in San Diego than in Milwaukee. Yeah, I probably let somebody else have him this year. If we were a keeper league or a dynasty league, different story. But in a redraft, I'll probably let somebody own him. Let somebody else own him this year.
Let somebody else see what the sophomore season is going to be like. Frank, you seem to like Chourio here. What are you thinking about this Brewers lineup and his spot in it? I would assume his spot is safe at the leadoff position, but what are you thinking for the rest of that lineup around him?
I'm actually looking up that lineup right now just so I can
It is.
give you a better idea. Yeah, he is
top.
at the top of the lineup.
Yeah.
With Yelich and Contreras sitting behind him, I like it a lot. And well, the rest of the lineup is not good. But besides those two, no, I like it. I mean, him and Jackson Merrill, they did wonderful things last year as rookies, and I don't know his eligibility. He's only 20. He's a kid. He's young. And I know he came up as a rookie last year. Yeah. And at 20 years old, you're putting, you're facing major league pitching. You're putting up 275, 21 and 79 in 148 games. I mean, that's not terrible. It's better than league average. You're getting, 29 doubles out of him, 4 triples, 21 homers. And I mean, yeah, the walk to strikeout ratio is, it's not great. It's not terrible, but if I see more plate discipline, it'll be even better. Where he can walk more, and yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah, the strikeout rate was below league average, but the plate discipline just isn't there. Only 39 walks last year.
Yep.
He definitely had a 2-month stretch where he was practically not rosterable because he was hitting about 210 in May, and then took off from June to the rest of the season.
As soon as we dropped him.
yeah. As soon as I dropped him and was like, okay, maybe they're going to send you back to the minors for a little bit. Nope, that didn't happen. He went off and had a 2020 year and had a better year than Randy Arozarena, which is saying something when you've got, a rookie in this scenario. Finished 3rd in the rookie of the year voting this past year. I could see him, certainly having a decent sophomore season, but there is a little bit to be concerned about as far as the plate discipline is concerned, and a sophomore slump may be in the cards. The Brewers, they didn't do a whole lot to improve that lineup around him. And
not good.
Yeah, it's not a good lineup. It's not a good lineup at all.
No.
All right, let's do our sleepers, breakouts, and busts here on this show so that we can wrap this one. And then next week we'll talk about the guys who made 3 lists and not 1. when we finish 19 through 36. So let's start with a sleeper. Jason, who do you have as a sleeper this year in the outfield?
There's a few that I don't have ranked, but that I am definitely keeping an eye on. I, I I don't have him ranked, but we'll see how you guys have him. I'm gonna go with JJ Bleday as a
Okay.
sleeper pick. Playing in that small ballpark. You know, look, he's gonna be 27, so like he's still young. We saw some upswing in his game last year, so if he takes a step forward in that ballpark, we could see some good things out of him.
So it's JJ Bleday as a sleeper for Jason. I do have him ranked. It's just not very high. He's not going to make our top 36, and in fact, he didn't even make my top 50. But I do have him ranked in the top 75, so that counts for something, right?
Yeah, sure.
Jason, Frank, who do you have as a sleeper this year?
Sleeper, I am gonna look to. I'm gonna look to Riley Green.
Okay.
I'm gonna look to Riley Green. You know, that Tigers team, they're coming off of a playoff appearance. And you know, he's 24. I think he's going to do way better than what he did last year. 24 and 74 and 262. So yeah, Riley Green.
Riley Green to take a step forward in Detroit, become a top 25 outfielder. We will be talking about him next week when we talk about the second half of our outfield rankings. My sleeper, it's going to be a dude who has had a down couple of years and was playing in San Francisco for a period of time, but then signed with a really great lineup in Los Angeles. Yo, give me a bounce back on Michael Conforto. Give me a bounce back on him on a 1-year deal so that he can go get a bag and get a contract. Nice late round flyer, and he's going to be playing most of the games in LA, left-handed hitter in that lineup. I like it. I like it a lot. Breakout candidate, Jason. Who do you have as a breakout candidate?
I liked Riley Green. I think he's gonna have a big year. Give me James Wood. Give me James Wood. On a breakout. I don't know. You know, I have him ranked. I don't know if we're talking about him in the second half of this of the outfield rankings, but I think this kid is gonna be something super special for the Nationals. Somebody who the Mets are going to hate facing for the next decade plus.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. That was my breakout candidate too. I think this kid's going to be a problem for the NL East as soon as this year. I mean, they have him projected for 2020 this year. I could totally see that happening. The question is whether or not he's going to be able to maintain his strikeout rate and keep his batting average up. He will not be talked about next week. He's going to be in the three lists, but not one next week. So we'll see. We'll talk about James Wood a little bit more next week. Frank, who do you have as a breakout this year?
I'm going to go with again a guy I don't know if we're going to talk about, but I'm going to go with Adolis Garcia in Texas. I think they've added people to help him. You know, and I mean, the power numbers are down, but I mean, I think he's gonna break out and do really good things. Yeah. So give me Adolis Garcia.
Yeah, 177 strikeouts this past year. That's pretty terrible. He had 224. So if he can get back to what he was when they won the World Series, a nice bounce back year, he could certainly break out and hit 30, 35 home runs. He will not be talked about next week except for the group of 3, but not on 1. So he's missing on somebody's list here. Who is the bust, Jason? Who are you avoiding this year?
I think I'm out on Brian Reynolds. We'll probably talk about him next time. But the Pirates are just awful. He took a downturn last year, and I think I don't unless there's a trade happening, which I think they locked him up, didn't they? So he's not going anywhere.
Right.
I'm probably out on Brian Reynolds.
Yeah, I can understand that. the Pirates have done absolutely nothing to improve that team. They continue to do nothing to improve that team. I'm shocked that they haven't signed Anthony Rizzo to play first base. So we'll see what the hell they're gonna do this season. But yeah, I kind of agree with you, Brian Reynolds. I'm out on him. Frank, who do you have as a bust this year?
I'm out on Brandon Nimmo.
Ooh,
I'm out on him.
he's out on
I'm
Nimmo.
out on you.
Of course you are, Jason.
He is out on Brandon Nimmo.
Yeah, I mean, a highly touted guy, 224, 23, and 90. Yeah, no, thank you. I think it's just going to get worse.
Wow. The career high in RBIs, I think a career high in home runs this past year, but the batting average just wasn't there. Dealing with plantar fasciitis, so we'll have to see it whether or not he's healthy to start the season. But Frank is out on Brandon Nimmo. We will talk about him next week. My bust this year, I don't know. I'm not exactly in on Anthony Santander. I think, but the guy that I'm going to highlight here is Mike Trout. I think you're going to have to draft him pretty high in this league. And we've seen nothing from this guy in years. When is this guy going to come back and be the Mike Trout that we know and love? He's not going to have a hurt year every single year for the rest of his career, right? Right?
Right.
Question mark, right?
Yeah.
I hope not. Somebody will get a great season out of Mike Trout, but the question is, when is that going to come? And I'm not going to be the guy to roll the dice there. I'm just not. Guys, thank you so much for being here with me this evening. Jason, I appreciate you being here, coming back from a Super Bowl party.
Absolutely, dude. To go from Super Bowl to talking baseball, there's nothing better than that. So, always appreciated, and yeah, I can't wait to see how this show wraps up next time.
Yeah, no doubt. Frank, thanks so much for being here with me, man.
Absolutely, man. Love being here with you guys. Love talking baseball, especially outfielders. It's one of my favorites.
Guys, thank you so much for being here, listening and watching. We appreciate you. If you're not subscribed and you're not ringing that bell for notifications when we upload new content, what are you doing? What are you even doing?
Yeah.
Gotta get the algorithms to work for us. We've got to get the platform to work for you. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Ring that bell on YouTube for notifications. And until next time, guys, it's been real, it's been fun, and it is always real fun in the bigs. We'll see you next time.